Burnett Kempers in 1970 and 1976 wrote, "The interpretation of the basic reliefs of Borobudur as currently published is if are based in the book, Karmawibanga. It uses the Mahakarmawibanga text, but does not fully follow the text. This is evidenced by the depiction in the reliefs, that many things expressed in the reliefs are closely related to the realities of community life that can be found in Java, Indonesia, not India. So it is very possible that the interpretation of the carved relief part is adjusted to the creativity of interpreting subjectivity that has been forced and has become an ambiguous status quo. The decomposition of the word literacy academic analysis in the inscription which is the root word is to determine where the word came from. That the literacy of the word inscription made by the relief maker mostly comes from Java which comes from the original Javanese vocabulary, it's just that the grammar is different from the current Javanese language. There was also a period of missing data information and lost historical records during the construction of the reliefs on the site, the period of use and the purpose for which this building was made. Society and historians do not get this information precisely and correctly, the result is only interpreting what is left is mixed with subjectivity without the basis of academic objectivity. Unfortunately, at this time it has been published that this building is based on a philosophy and culture not from the civilization where the site was built, namely Nusantara, Indonesia. Even the true civilization of the people as well as the culture in which this site was made is the basis for the philosophy that grew into religions elsewhere, among them India. Proof of the sentence above is currently difficult to prove, because the document data about it which is valid is no longer in this land and what is published is only the interpretation which may also be invalid. During that time, the original Javanese words experienced the adoption of Sanskrit, not the reverse. The suitability of the Sanskrit grammar on most of the bas-relief panels of Borobudur which has a similar Sanskrit inscription does not mean it is based in the philosophy of India, and it can be concluded that the dominant is not in accordance with the culture and philosophy from outside Java. There is a significant difference in the words Svarga and Svarga, which is the result of the differences that occur due to different interpretations of the usual word if there are other consonants after the letter R. B consonant double. Crom wrote Svarga with 2 G, while Kern reads with 1 G. Based on the results of rereading, there is only 1 G in the word Svarga. The word Svarga, with 2 letters G, Svarga, comes from the original Javanese word, because it is not in accordance with the rules of the Sanskrit language. If the word is a Sanskrit word, supposed to be Svarj, which has a singular locative case, Svarga, in the original teachings of the archipelago that appeared in Borobudur, the meaning was different from the word heaven. Jannah Arabic is the concept of heaven. In the teachings of Islam, the literary text of the word heaven is not found. Siddhartha Gautama describes Buddhism as a raft which, after floating on a river, will allow the occupants to attain nirvana. In a deeper sense, nibbana is supreme bliss, a state of great eternal bliss. Blissful nibbana cannot be experienced by indulging the senses, but by calming them down. Nibbana is not a place. Nibbana is not an absence or extinction. Nibbana is not a paradise. The number of inscriptions that are incompatible with Sanskrit grammar indicates that there is knowledge of the Mahakarmawibanga text, not fully understood and impressed to be forced to interpret the meaning of reliefs and literacy of the written word on the bas-reliefs of Borobudur. The word Svarga in the bas-reliefs of Borobudur proves the philosophy depicted here is not based on any of the 2 Indian religions, but underlies the 3 religions that grow there. Eliminate the past knowledge and then master it. Listen to this, my brother. That the bas-reliefs of Borobudur are currently invisible because they are closed and there are pictures of the Fulgar scene is fictional, and the meaning of the word fictional is lie, the center of important information sources for the history of this nation in Drown, which is easy to see on close, and those that cannot be submerged also cannot be closed. In Indian, Borobudur was formerly called Wana Kaka Fala. There are 160 relief panels that cannot be seen. The word literacy in the bas-relief is Vairapa, Mahachakya, Vyasada, Abhidya, Mityadarsti, Kusala, Suvarnavarna, Katyavandana, Mahojaska Samadana, Sasvara, Svarga, Ba, illegible. Svarga, Ba, unreadable. Mayas, Sa, Kyamadana. Kakravarti, Svarga, Mahe, Sa, Kyasamavadana, Ganta. Kakravarti, Sabdasravana, Svarga, Bogi, Prasadita, Vastradana, Svarga, Kusaladharmabhajana, Bogi, Svarga, Banner, Adyabogi, Svarga, Tana, unreadable, Svarga, Chatradana, Mahana, Svarga, Svarga, Puspadana, Svarga, Maladana, Bogi, Svarga, Anjali. 12 words, Svarga. Printed on the basic relief figure of Borobudur, it is clear that this is not written in words. Nirvana. Grammatical problems in inscription. Linguistic problems of spelling and morphology of basic words in the inscription show that there are differences in relief interpretation with the Mahakarmawibanga script. Svarga said. McDonnell, 1954-371. Zoetmulder, 1995-1169. Svarga said, is the original word of the archipelago because it does not have a declination in the form of a locative case, namely svarg or svarg. In addition, the writing of the inscription is not in accordance with the Sanskrit grammar regarding declination if the word is nominative with additional examples in the case H or Visarga. The word Mahachakya means great power, or people who have great power. Kakya is the Kaka of the Saka people, this is our ancestor. The word Abhidya and the word Vyasada. Abhidya made up of words A and Bidya. In vowel grammar, A. What is in front can show two meanings, namely the integrated meaning of the word or the opposite meaning of the root word. Word Abhidya, A, is the opposite word from the root N. Bidya, which means fun. Therefore the meaning of the word Abhidya is unpleasant. McDonnell, 1954-205. Adya means the goddess of power. Adya, Shakti. It means, first, in Sanskrit, the conformity and resemblance to Sanskrit is not necessarily Indian. Banner. Possessive. My. Your. His. Particular. Ka. El. Ah. Pataka flag emblem of troops. Banners. The soldier pronounces an oath while holding the tip of the pegs. Vyasada is a word that is male nominative which means obstacle or obstruction. McDonnell. 1954-304. The word has no case declination in Sanskrit grammar. If those two words are Sanskrit words, they should be Abhidya H and Vyasada H, with the singular nominative case. The word is not in accordance with Sanskrit grammar, so it is clearly a local native language word. The inscription that says Mityadarsti. In Javanese culture, the word is a form of the root word Midyo, Mithya, and Drsti, which means view contained in the Javanese word absorbed in Sanskrit. Kusaladharmabhajana. Kusala. Translated as healthy, peaceful peace. While bhajans. The word bhajan or bahana comes from the root bhaj, which mean share, take part, participate, belong to. Word bhajana means attachment, dedication, favorite, honor, faith or love, worship, as a sublime spiritual principle. Word dharma is the original philosophy of the previous archipelago. Based on research by European historians, the basic philosophy that underlies the birth of religious religion in India. The learning center, Dharmak, is in Kampar, Sumatra, named Dharmaphala was drowned, depicted on the reliefs of Borobudur. Closed. Other archipelago sites have become India right by just differentiating there. Antitage there is a statue sitting cross-legged. Was drowned. Closed. In Indian. Then master. Fankalong ship is a very large ship, the work of the ancestors of the archipelago around 3100-2300 BC, exploring 3/4 of the earth through the Indian mainland, carrying the philosophy of Dharmak. Is this what's called a ship? Phoenici. Identical with the Phoenicians, who are said to be the maritime explorers of the world's oceans. Watch this. Phoenicians. Phoenici. Phoenicia. Live in the Middle East region, now in Lebanon and Syria, as a coastal area of the sea landlocked desert. News published in the World. They were very famous shipbuilders. The ship had a sail and oars on the front of the ship. There was a dragon head shape. Question. Is it true that large ships are made in areas where the beaches are confined by deserts with a little forest? There is also a dragon's head philosophy to it. Other thing. The Phoenicians had a predominantly growing forest of cedars. They built ships using cedar and cedar wood. Is it only with two types of wood that guarantees the ship that is made can survive in seawater and explore the world's oceans? Professor Juris Zarins believes that the Sumerians came from the Asia Minor region around the year 3500 BC, and there is no historical evidence that proves that the Phoenicians, Phoenicia ever built giant ships. Meanwhile, the ship, Nusantara, was not taken from the literacy of the words of the Phoenicians, Phoenicians. Panchala. This word in some Vedic books. According to Kumbhakara Jataka, the capital of Uttara Panchala was Kampiyanagara, where a king named Damukha. According to Mahabharata, number 138, 73-4 J.ie.379, also MTU.ie.26, but DVY 435 call the capital of Hastinapura as Ahichatra or Chatravati, while the capital of Daksina, Panchala, is Kampaliya. Uttara Panchala was included in the kingdom of Kuru, e.g., JV 444, in Mahabharata I.138, but at other times he formed part of Kampalarutha, e.g., J.ie.79, v. 21, 289. Some of the literature J.vi, 329, 396, etc. Also PVA 161. See also Uttaradhyayana Sutras, SBE. XLV 5761 and Ramayana, I.32, Sambuddha as the king of Uttara Panchala, J. IV.392 FF. Sometimes the king of Panchala is just referred to as Panchala, e.g., JIV.430, VV. 98 Jayadisa. Pankalong ship. The name of the ship that was mentioned by other people when the big ship came to a country by mentioning where the ship came from. Panchala. The ship, Panchalong, is an early generation ship, measuring 170 mtr long, 40 mtr wide, 5 sails 75 meters high, crewed by 1,000 people with 300 oars on each side with a front bearing the dragon head symbol. It was once made and there are remains of its artifacts in the form of giant anchors found in Kampaliya, around the Muaratakas site at this time. The great ship, Panchalong, sails in the great ocean with 5 wide and sturdy main sails, at the top of which the emblem, swastika, is inscribed. The ship, Panchalong, in the era of Dapuntha Hyang, 6th century, 4th day 11th, transports 2,213 alumni of graduates to the West. From the university where Dharmak, teaching and learning in Kanva, was called Dharma Phala. In Mainanga Kanva, the former Kampar was called Kampiyanagara, Kampalarutha. Here are found artifacts evidence of once standing large complexes that have been running 14 centuries ago. 2,213 graduates went to the north with Maha Guru Arki, among them named Svarnadvipa Dharmakirti, Karaputa, Kanjaya spread to color the Indian mainland. Now, history records upside down. All sites in the archipelago have always been and should only be based on one of the two Indian religions, by distinguishing the presence and absence of a statue sitting cross-legged. Tapo is higher, Bethara is the original term of the archipelago. The Muaratakas site is not based on one of the two Indian religions, because here there was once a center for basic Pulsafal learning that underlies the growth of the three religions there. There are 5 types of ships in 7 reliefs depicted on the walls of Borobudur according to a book written in 1.873 by Conradus Lehmans. The ship depicted on the relief Borobudur is a type of 3rd generation ship. Let's take a look. The type of ship the generation after was named Polari. Initial form of Pinisi, with a curved keel and smaller in size than the Lambaya type, steered with 2 side rudders at the stern. The next generation of the ship, Pinisi. According to the manuscript Shore, Ilogaligo already existed before the 14th century. Pinisi was first made by Saragading, the crown prince of the Luwu kingdom, to sail to China. The sailing ship, Lankang, Nusantara, began to dominate the vast ocean from the Malacca Strait, the Indian Ocean from the IX. 12 centuries, the Lancang ship last generation was only until the 14th century AD. Then replaced with ships. Panko, Pankung, Panko, pirate. This designation is Portuguese English, other type of ship, boat. Lanco, Lanco. The Panko boat with a large single mast supported, the Lanco boat does not sail but is rowed together. Dondong boat. This boat successfully sailed the brothers from the Malacca Strait and the archipelago with the Panko, Pankung boat. It was noted that the Dondong boat could sail the 16th century Kampar River. The Dondong and Pankung boats were used by the Sultan of Malacca, Mahmud Saya Akhiral era of 1,526 years, as many as 42 ships, while escaping from a Portuguese attack, after exile in Bintan, then left for help to the land of his ancestors, Kampar. The last generation of the Kampar Malay ships to rule the seas is the Kajong type of ship. It looks like a Panko boat. Its sails are made of woven kajong and neatly woven rattan, last sailing on the Kampar River in 1964. The ships above are the generation of Nusantara ships that existed in the era after the type of ship depicted at Borobudur. Watch this. In his book L.A. Waddell, which was written in 1925 about the Aryans, he dismissed his claims that Aryan was a Sumerian nation, with evidence of artifacts and relics he encountered. From all the written evidence, L.A. Waddell 1925 about the Aryans, this explains even confirms that geography is also a symbol of the artifacts found characterizing it is the area of the equator of the archipelago and the year it is estimated. Prove that there was already an advanced civilization around 3100–2300 BC. The Mahajanapadas I-213, IV.252, states that there are two countries, Uttara Panchala, and Dakina Panchala. The Bhagirathi River borders it, and according to Kumbhakara Jataka, the capital of Uttara Panchala is Kampiyanagara, where a king named Damukha once ruled. The word Damukha is synonymous with the word Domo, one of the names of the tribe around the Muaratakas site, Kampar. The customary law system in Kampar is still in effect today, Soko, Pisoko and Limbago, which reflect the existence of a Kedichuan system. The Mahabharata, number 138, 73-4J.ie.379, call the capital of Hastinapura as Ahichatra or Chatravati, while the capital of Daksina, Panchala, is Kampaliya. Note the relationship between the words Panchala, Kampaliya, and Kampar. Listen to this. The ship, Panchalong, is a type of early generation ship, measuring 170 mtr long, 40 mtr wide, 5 pieces 75 mtr high sails, manned by 1,000 soldiers with 300 oars on each side. The front of the ship bearing the head symbol, dragon, ever made in Kampar and proven by the discovery of the remaining artifacts in the form of a giant anchor, the Panchalong ship. In the period of Dapuntha Hyong in the 6th century, 4th century, 11th day, transporting 2,213 alumni of graduates to the east as well as to the west 2,213 people. Exit. Kanva, or Kampar with Guru Maha Arki among them named Svarnadvipa Dharmakirti, Karaputa, Kanjaya spread to the north, among them as far as mainland India. From the university where Dharmak, teaching and learning in Kanva, is called Dharma Phala. In Minanga Kanva, Kampar is centered on the site of Muaratakas. Here you can find artifacts of evidence of once standing large complexes that have been running 14 centuries ago with 2,000 students, over 1,600 graduates each year. So, the original ancestral philosophy of the archipelago, Dharmak, depicted in Borobudur is also perfectly preserved in Bali, both of which are not based on any of the two Indian religions. But the philosophy recorded in both is what underlies the growth of the three religions there. David Solomon's star symbol is the oldest spiritual symbol in the world. The initial source of this symbol is from the Indonesian archipelago. During the previous advanced civilization centered on our land, Indonesia. Let's take a look. David Star or David Star is a hexagonal-shaped symbol in the history of civilization in the world. In the time after which this symbol appeared in the Western world, the Star of David, David was called Sab Kona and was also at the heart of spirituality in India. Sab Kona is a six-pointed star, formed by joining two perfect triangles. The triangle that faces upwards is called Purusa and that faces down is Prakrti. In the Vedic literature it is written that Sri Brahma Samhita lived in Goloka. The Star of David or Sab Kona symbol is almost on 3/4 of the earth. This is evidence of the territory of the former civilization of the Indonesian archipelago. Recorded on the nations of the world who in the past they learned to gather in Canva, recorded in Vedic. The name of the learning center is Dharma Phala, appearing in a Borobudur relief which was previously named Vh Saka Phala. Evidence of the spread of the archipelago's ancestral philosophy is evident from the symbols that spread across 3/4 of the earth between them. 1. Samaria. The Vorderasiatisches Museum in Berlin displays several cylinder seals from the 2500 BC, appearing there in the context of astronomical astrology between which a circle is surrounded by 6 triangles. 2. Assyria. Black obelisk of Shalmaneser III in Iraq. This obelisk was erected in the Assyrian city of Nimrud as a public monument in 825 BC. 3. Minos. In the Heracleion Museum in Crete there is an ancient Festos disc made of burnt clay, this hexagram-shaped disc dating from 1700 BC. 4. Carthage. Tunisia. Tunisia in North Africa, bearing the symbol of the hexagram is called a Phoenician coin from the 5th century BC. 5. Japan. The crest kagome can be found in some of the oldest Shinto shrines in Japan dating back to the 5th century BC. 6. Israel. Hexagrams were also found engraved on Gibeon, Israel urns dating from the end of the First Temple of the Kingdom of Israel, the 6th century BC. The hexagonal symbol originates from the archipelago. It is strongly recorded in the Parmalim Batak culture. Ugamo Malam is not a Jew. Ugamo Malam is the original teaching of the archipelago which was very advanced, which was stored in the Batak land and spread to all corners of the world, coloring the teachings of the Jewish ancestors. Evidence of the similarity of the Israelites and the Batak Bangso. 1. Nation superior over other ethnic groups. 2. Have a very strong past memory. 3. A nation that is steadfast, adhering to its customs and culture. 4. Recording strong genealogy, clan and serial number. The similarity of Batak and Jewish culture. A. Share monotheism. B. Martutu Ek, baptism and naming of a baby on the 7th day of birth. C. Tondi Chisel, death ceremony. D. Samsara Mararisantu, worship every Saturday or Sabbath worship. E. Mardabada, worship of one's intentions. F. Mangan Mapit, worship asks for the remission of sins. G. Sipaha Sada, worship day to commemorate the birth of Lord Simarimbilabo C. H. Sipaha Lima, worship of the day of offerings, sacrifices. I. Ubang Balone, it is prohibited to eat pork, cats, dogs, wild animals and their blood. J. Padak, most of the 10 commandments are also in Ugamo Malam. K. Parmalim called Mula Jadi Na Balone, the great first, the first Almighty. God the creator of the universe is among the Father and Ampung the ancestors. They are similar to the Israelites who also call Jehovah Alpha and Omega, as their father and grandfather. Tolu Portabi in Hasiongan, 3 universe patterns. The Batak people divide the 3 major patterns of the universe, namely 1. Banua Ginjang, heavenly realm. 2. Banua Tonga, R-dimensional realm. 3. Banua Toru, realm of death. These 3 stages were enshrined in the world's Qibla monument at that time named Wana Sakapala, now published as Borobudur. The Israelites shared the same nature with this pattern. Ugamo Malam is evidence of the original teachings of the ancient archipelago which were very advanced, which were stored in the Batak land and spread throughout the world, coloring the teachings of the Jewish ancestors. The philosophy of Dharmak, with a hexagonal symbol then evolved from the basic form to swastika, perfectly recorded in Balinese culture, fully illustrated in Borobudur. Both are not based on any of the 2 Indian teachings, but the philosophy that is drawn and recorded in both underlies the 3 religions that grow in India. We're not going from India to Arabia, but both from here. By Santo Saba.